Phantom's Hope by Rene 4567. Chapter 3. Chapter 2. Paranoia is a tool often abused. Summary. Bruce reflects on the call from his cousin he hadn't seen since they were children. He briefs the family on their new charge and his suspicions. Bruce Wayne hasn't spoken to his closest relatives in a very long time, so when his cousin, Madeline Fenton, née Wayne, calls and asks if her only son can stay with him despite not having seen each other for decades since they were children, and his public reputation as a playboy with a soft spot for charity cases. Not that he ever think of them like that. Just 1 month after Amity Park's fiasco, he is reasonably suspicious. No responsible parent would just leave their child with practically strangers that have a bad reputation. When had Maddie ever been a responsible, trustworthy parent, though? Then he doesn't know if their love would extend to if he was a ghost. Their attention certainly never extended to his human self. Danny's parents loved him and his sister very much, but they are obsessed with ghosts so much, and to them, their kids just aren't ghosts, nor interested in hunting them. Especially when a quick background search on the Bat computer, whilst catching up, showed that his nephew is the same kid that not only confronted Superman on worldwide television and made Batman's instincts wary, but also practically commanded the town to kick out the Justice League before they could finish investigating, and later unofficially negated a treaty with the town's local extra-dimensional beings that Batman and thereby the League now acknowledges ghosts due to Satana and Deadman among others. Batman never wanted to strangle Superman so much, especially since Batman also suspected he was the main fighting force behind the Ecto-Act laws being repealed, which ultimately gave not only Batman but the Justice League and the world leaders a headache when ghosts started coming out of the town and wreaking havoc to the world's dismay. Any attempts to contact the town for help was replied with a big, ridiculing smile. Help with what? Ghosts don't exist. And compared with the previous GIW, revealed that the destroyed tech couldn't be rebuilt because they were stolen from the local ghost hunters in the first place. Despite knowing that, he was probably agreeing to something he would later regret. He accepted to care for his nephew, if only because he had been meaning to call Madeline, or rather Maddie, in order to negotiate a contract with a company, Fenton Works, in order to acquire ghost defensive systems, and refusing would make negotiations awkward, knowing that his cousin had refused collaboration with all other companies that ask on the principle that ghosts don't exist. Even if the Fentons had refused to sign the petition to repel the Anti-Ecto Acts or acknowledge the Amity Park Treaty, they didn't appreciate the League's reaction to their son's question. They also hadn't asked Danny if he was okay afterward, though, due to moping about the news and later the treaty. In fact, the following negations to enter contract with Wayne Industries to protect their son after he leaves the city limits was surprisingly easy, considering how much they had vehemently fused other companies. Too easy, his eyes narrowed as he tried to detect the reason for her words. The Fenton parents have repeatedly proven to be especially gullible to people they consider friends or family. They have also proven that they are stubbornly determined to see the good in them, no matter how much they are taken advantage of, especially when it comes to their children. finishing the call with the promise from him to have the legal team speak with them, plus a free plane ticket for their son, and a promise from them to send multiple ghost shields, weapons, and tag along with their blueprints before their son arrives in 1 week. Bruce stood up from the monitor to head up the elevator to the manor. Alfred, his butler, will need to be informed along with his sons. Dick Grayson, his eldest son, and a superhero alias Nightwing, is staying at the manor to help with his other sons, using Sailor beams to go to work and patrol his claimed city, Bloodhaven. Get down from the chandelier! For God's sake, Dick, you're an adult! Make me! Jason Todd, his second son, currently alias Red Hood, had recently decided that he missed Alfred and agreed to be re-evaluated as to have miraculously survived to the public after finding out from Alfred that Batman actually had tried to kill Joker multiple times and failed. Old man, you goddamn motherfucking hypocritical ass! Tim Drake, his third son, currently alias Red Robin, is managing the Wayne Industries Technology R&D after having graduated from school early at the age of 15. When was the last time you slept, Tim? And what cup of coffee are you at? Sip. 48 hours? Sure, sip. Young Master Tim awoke from his tranquilizer-induced sleep 6 hours ago, Master Bruce. Damian Wayne, 13, his youngest and only biological son, currently Alice, Robin, is about to start his freshman year of high school at Gotham Academy, after summer ends, having refused to attend middle school. Father, why must I attend this institution? My education is far more refined than these peasants. But you need to learn how to socialize, baby bird. Shut up, Grayson! His adoptive daughter, Cassandra Wayne, Alice orphan, had decided to vacation with Barbara Gordon, the chief of police's daughter, and alias Batgirl, during the summer, but should return before the summer ends. Sign language. I don't care that they stole from your sweet stash. You manipulated your brothers into having a prank war that escalated into sabotaging each other's equipment. If I haven't noticed, someone could have died. Just imagining them reacting to this news is painful enough, but now he actually has to tell them. Luckily enough for Bruce, if he'd call it that, it was actually time for dinner 10 minutes ago, so they are all at the dining table waiting for him. Best to get it over with at once. How nice of you to join us, Master Bruce. Bruce winces internally at Alfred's tone. I was held up by a call from my cousin, Madeline. Everyone's eyes at the table sharpened at that. B, I didn't know you had relatives, Dick said in a patronizing tone. His eyes, though, were narrow with suspicion. I concur. I was not informed of any other relatives by anyone, Damien followed up, but corrected himself in the sentence. His mother had been a sore topic for a while, and his grandfather a forbidden one. His eyes were narrow, but held some insecurities from another perceived lie. Yeah, old man, who's the woman? Jason had straightened from his previous position of leaning on the table, and Tim was silent, but had temporarily lowered his tablet. Miss Madeline is Master Bruce's cousin on their uncle's side. They briefly met as children, and I do believe she lives in Amity Park with her husband and children. They have not been in contact since they were young, though, Alfred informed them, which begs the question of what they want now. Right? Dick asks, and Bruce nodded. Madeline wanted to ask if his son could stay with me for a period of time. I agreed. Chaos was the best description to what next transpired. They angrily shouted, "But father!" "Fuck. Eat more coffee. New baby Quiet," Bruce ordered with a glare. "Why did you agree?" Jason yelled in the resulting quiet, never one to be ordered especially by him. "You are all aware of the recent rise in ghost attack due to the failed investigation of Emily Park, correct?" "Yeah. What's that got to do with her?" Jason continued suspiciously. "Nothing, except she is the one of the only two experts in ghost defense technology." "Who's the other?" "Her husband." "Shit." No other competitors means monopoly, and Jason knows that Bruce would agree to a lot in order to gain that defense technology. That a lot comes in the form of a civilian child. When Bruce has a weak spot towards children, escapes no one's notice. At the table, is it a trap? Unknown, but after I agreed to take in their son, they agreed to particularly give away the inventions and blueprints. They had previously refused all contacts regarding their technology with spite. That they gave them up so easily is weird in consideration. "Did they say why they were throwing their son out?" Jason asked. "Jason!" Dick reproached. "But it's true," they said. He was having a tough time at school. However, their son, Daniel Fenton, was the one who kicked the leak out of the town. Eyes widened as they took in that information. "Hold on. Your nephew was the one who was holding the high-tech device particularly as a threat and convinced the town to make the Justice League leave?" Dick exclaimed. "Yes, the high-tech device, as you put it, was much later, as in 10 minutes ago. Confirmed to be an containment device for ghosts. Presumably, he had meant to release a ghost he caught, personally judging by the state of his clothes, to prove their existence. But something in him had stopped him from releasing it." "Wait, he debated releasing a threat in the middle of a crowd?" Dick shouted. "Obviously, it couldn't have been that strong if it was captured by that coward, Grayson." Damien scoffed. Elsewhere, Danny sneezed as he was contemplating how much the destruction had toned down since the treaty. Only 1 or 2 buildings per day get destroyed. It used to be a building or 2 per ghost. Hopefully it's not a cold or a new power coming in. "Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Huh, old man. Probably thought he'd be saving them by revealing their existence. Dumbass couldn't even go through it with it." Jason laughed, capitalizing on the fact that the kid's mother was a Wayne to insult Bruce. Another reality, Danny sneezed. "There are 32 ghosts in his thermos. That's somewhere in between another 32 between 64 buildings total. To release or not to release, wouldn't be his problem if the Justice League in charge of getting them back." "I definitely need more coffee for this." Tim looked down at the table to find his cup empty. Meanwhile, Bruce sat down at his seat and started eating, realizing his food was getting cold by the minute. It had been dinner when he interrupted, after all. No matter how weak the ghost he caught was, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that he almost released it, Bruce commented. "While he stays here, we need to figure out what his goals are and if we have to stop them. We also need to figure out if he knows what happened to the town's previous hero, Phantom." The one that hasn't been sighted since the parade? Would he know where he disappeared to? Dick asks. The containment device that he used was too similar to Phantom's to be a coincidence. While talking to Madeline, I discovered that Phantom apparently stole their inventions all the time. However, I find it unlikely that a ghost managed to sneak into their lab often enough to take their equipment, let alone know how to use it. I suspect Daniel smuggled equipment to Phantom in return for the town's protection. In the Fenton's lab/basement, a ghost party was currently occurring, celebrating the news of Phantom retiring, and Danny, taking notice, threatened to leave them in a ferment until he left if they didn't break it up. Upstairs, Jack obviously ate fudge while Maddie cooked dinner. Illinois is a different time zone after all. Hot dogs were on the menu tonight, and Danny had already prepped the guns to kill them with for when they mutated. Is there a chance he is Phantom? Tim asked, looking up from the empty cup he'd been glaring at. No, I found surveillance footage of him and 2 other teens helping out Phantom. To support my helpless theory, in fact, I think someone did something to Phantom the day of the parade, and it left Fenton desperate enough to almost open the device. I think there was someone behind the Justice League, not finding anything wrong with the town that day. Master Flat looked up from his papers he was working on and narrowed his eyes. Someone is trying to uncover one of my schemes. I thought Daniel was taking a break. I must hurry to finish these before he leaves. Muhaha! But if he was helping Phantom protect the town, doesn't that mean he's good? Dick piped up. No, if anything, it makes him look more suspicious. Even with Phantom missing, he managed to negate a treaty between Amity Park and the ghosts, and decided to leave the town immediately afterwards, to stay with his billionaire uncle, who has a penchant for adopting black-haired, blue-eyed teens, and is secretly Batman, Jason stated. Well, we must prepare for young Master Daniel's arrival then, Alfred spoke, and all eyes focused on Bruce's reply. Yes, he must not find out about our secret until we know what he wants. This will be difficult. He will be here for at least a year if he doesn't reveal his intention immediately. Bruce, you couldn't keep a secret for a few weeks from me when I was 9. Dick replied in disbelief. Irrelevant.